Hello and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Portrait Prophet Show. Thank you guys for being with me here today. We're going to be dealing with some unusual situations today. But before we get into that, I want to encourage you to leave a comment, to hit that like button, to hit that love button. And before you do it, if you haven't already, you'll see going across the bottom right now, we use a program called StreamYard, a platform called StreamYard that causes us to be able to simulcast the show to multiple places. We're on 5 different Facebook pages, 2 different YouTube channels, and 1 LinkedIn page. And so this platform allows us to stream to multiple places, meaning we don't see you unless you give the platform permission for us to see you. And so go to StreamYard.com/Facebook, StreamYard.com/Facebook, and then give StreamYard permission for us to see who you are. By the way, if you've done this in the past on the same, if you're on the same computer or the same laptop or same cell phone, if you've done it before on that one, it remembers you, and so you probably don't have to do it. But if you're new, or if you are on a new device, then you will have to do it. So go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. That way I'll know who you are when you do make those comments. So I also want you to tell me that you're watching live by clicking in the comments, entering hashtag live. This tells me that you're here right now watching us. If you're watching us in the replay later on, then please enter in hashtag replay instead of live, hashtag replay. But for those of you who are watching right now, enter in hashtag live. And I want to encourage you to share this with others. So after you've hit that hashtag live, click the share button. I mean, it's right there if you're on Facebook, it's one of the options that are there. Hit share. And if there's someone in particular you feel could benefit from the Portrait Prophet Show, a photographer who's doing portrait work or something that's similar that is beneficial for what we're doing, then tag them in a post. That way they know about it and they can come over and watch the Portrait Prophet Show. All right. Now, you guys are aware that we send this out to you for no cost. There's no cost to you guys at all for this. And there's 2 additional things for the Portrait Prophet Show. There's 2 additional things that I do that are also of no cost. So let me share those two things with you right now. The first is the business consultation. So this is a free private 30-minute session with me to go over your dreams and your goals for your business. It could be price list, it could be marketing, whatever it is. It could be a business, it could be an annual assessment of how you've done over the last year or what you're planning to do over the next. So you can use this however you want. And all you need to do is go to the address that you see here, which I'm going to take off temporarily and put that in the, put that back. I'm going to put that in the comments. That way, all you have to do is click the link. All right, you should start seeing that coming up right now. Excuse me. And you'll see that address that you see right here on the screen. You'll see it in the comment section. And you can just click that link and get your free 30-minute consultation. And the next thing, I said there were 2 more. The show, the business assessment consultation, and Lunch with Landers. And Lunch with Landers is also, let me grab that and put that in the comments. I'll put it back on the screen real quick. So Lunch with Landers, I'm taking a photographer to lunch every single week on Tuesdays. And the reason it's on Tuesdays is because I'm going to lunch at the Dominion Country Club anyway, because my Rotary Club meets there. And as far as Rotary Club is a service organization, but as far as what you'll see, we bring in a speaker every single week to talk about what they're passionate about or their business or whatever it is, their story that they have to share. And so you get to see the world from a different perspective every single week. Or I do. You get to do that once. But what you'll experience is a group of people listening to a speaker while having lunch. And then afterwards, you and I get to visit about your goals or your dreams or whatever it is you want for about half an hour. So that is Lunch with Landers. I encourage you to click that link and get on my schedule. It's free. All right. Take that back off of there. Today we are talking about dealing with unusual situations. Before I get into that, I bet you guys have dealt with some unusual situations. Now, it's Halloween, so therefore you might be thinking about scary, unusual situations. Maybe you've come across some odd things. You're welcome to share those in the comments. I'm curious because I want you to share in the comments some unusual situation that you have had. Now, I'm more thinking about everyday unusual situations that you're going to come across, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. But whatever unusual situation you'd like to share, I want to hear it. We may not have time to bring it up and talk about it, but I want to know what kind of things that you find unusual, and you can talk about how you dealt with it too. But that'll make it kind of a long post. So I'm thinking make it a relatively short one, just saying what the unusual situation was. So encouraging you to do that right now. Also, of course, I encourage you guys to enter in hashtag live to let me know that you're here with us today. Yeah, I know it's Halloween. I should make some joke about that. But enter in hashtag live just to let me know that you're here. If you're watching the replay, enter in hashtag replay. But in the comments right now, share an unusual situation. You're probably doing it. You're probably working on it right now, but just in case, share an unusual situation that you've experienced. And of course, I encourage you guys at any step, multiple steps throughout the presentation today, to click that like button, click that love button, whatever is appropriate for today. Click, let me know. I like that interaction. Helps me know you're there. All right, so I can see. I'll give a few shout outs. Let's see. Hi, Robin. Hey, Dave. Glad you're here. Pam. Hi, Pam. Okay, Facebook user. I don't know who the Facebook users are. Those are people who want to remain anonymous. Or the link's not working for them. One of the two. All right. I'm glad you guys are here. All right. So today we are dealing with unusual situations. I guess first I should say happy Halloween, photographers, before moving into the subject. There are a lot of ways that I could have gone with this title of dealing with unusual situations. I could have talked about the weird things that I've experienced, that I've come across in my career as a photographer. There have been a few. I might even share some of those with you at the end if I have some time. I kind of hope I do. I love sharing those stories. They're odd. They're weird. But today I want to go into a broader view of the subject of dealing with unusual situations and what you can do to prepare to not only get through unusual situations, but to feel confident and shine to those around you. I think I am going to share one story and tease the others if I get a chance to share them at the end. All right, so this one's quick. So I was photographing at, this was a wedding at an old house. And many of you have probably heard it. It's called the Black Swan Inn. Well, I didn't notice anything the entire time that was unusual or odd, with the exception of one thing that I've never experienced before. My batteries kept on draining. I brought 8 sets of batteries for one flash. Well, it was one particular flash that I'm telling the story about. And I had 8 sets of batteries, and I went through all 8 that evening. I usually don't even go through one set, maybe two sets. I'm prepared to do more. I have lots of extra batteries because anything can happen. You know how that goes. But I went through 8 sets of batteries. Somehow they kept on draining. I don't have an explanation for it, but it happened. Talk about an unusual situation. Well, for the purposes of today, let me define what I'm talking about for unusual situations. So I'm going to define what unusual situations is for today's, for what I have to prepare, what I have prepared for you. So an unusual situation can be something that you are personally dealing with. It could be physically, it could be in your mind, which is totally a valid, unusual situation. Not in your mind as in someone saying, don't worry about it, it's all in your mind. Not that kind of thing. I'm talking about something that you feel is very real. Or maybe it's a family or a family member or friend that is dealing with something that, maybe it's something that affects you directly, but it's probably something that affects you indirectly. Most likely simply because you care about the people around you. Now, it could be something that a client is dealing with, but it also includes things that happen locally, regionally, or even worldwide. So let's talk about a few examples of what I mean by that. Things that happen regionally or worldwide might be severe weather problems like a storm, hurricane, flooding. It could be drought. It could be elections. It could be product shortages, gas, food, day-to-day items, and it could even be war. Things that happen locally, traffic, construction, road closure, flooding, power outage, internet outage. What about things that your clients may be dealing with? Something like a loss of a job, a medical procedure, illness, car trouble. There's a lot of things that might pop up, usually just singularities, but you have to deal with them. How about things that a family member may be going through? Financial concerns, loss of a job, medical procedure, an illness, and then things that you are having to deal with personally that are unusual. And many times no one may even have the slightest clue that you're dealing with it. Things like a headache, but real important things, paying bills, recent argument, car breaking down, awkward situations, crazy neighbor. By the way, I have a fantastic neighbor, so I'm grateful in that category. But I've heard stories. Language barrier, a friend or family member with some concerns. There's all kinds of unusual situations. And because you care, you want to do something about it if you can. So how do you convey to someone that you understand or empathize with what they are going through in a way that doesn't make it worse, that doesn't harm the relationship, at least temporarily? Well, there are a lot of ways to deal with unusual situations. Maybe you're dealing with a situation with a level of concern that's greater than you've ever dealt with before. Or maybe you have a situation that forces you to feel like you can't decide what to do, well, at least at this point. There's likely quite a bit of confusion. Maybe the situation keeps on changing. It could be said that it is at times of great uncertainty when some of the most courageous, strongest, or most extraordinary decisions were ever made. And so I want to help prepare you to be the person who makes those decisions with calm and clarity. By the way, if this makes sense, if you know what it is that I'm talking about, if I'm touching you, if it's or resonating with you, would you do me a favor right now? Click yes in the comments. Not click yes, enter yes into the comments right now. If you're hearing me, if you know what it is that I'm talking about, if I haven't lost you yet, enter in yes in the comments. Let me know that you're here. Let me know what you're watching. Let me know that you're resonating with what I'm sharing with you so far today. Enter yes. Thanks, guys. Hey, Tina. Yeah, I agree, Pam. Cool. All right. So by anticipating whatever problems, concerns, weird situations, by anticipating and thinking about how you could best deal with the situations that come up in your life, you're better able to make your decisions. And you're better able to make them with the confidence that you want. And then follow through until it's appropriate to tweak it, but only tweak because you have new information. Now, when I say be confident even when no answer seems to be a good one. I know that sounds hard, but we're going to prepare so that that becomes the norm. Be confident even when the situation causes deep concern. Be confident even when you know there is more uncertainty coming. Be confident even when you feel the weight of everything on your shoulders. As I was researching and preparing for this presentation today, I came across the author of an article who is the owner of a business roadmap software company, which is a fantastic product, and this product is a good one. It's called AHA, A-A-H, or A-H-A exclamation point. In fact, let me put that on the screen. So his name is Brian DeHaaf, and the name of his company is AHA. And he wrote an article called The Founder's Paradox: How to Make Clear Decisions When the Future is So Cloudy. And I'm going to share with you today his words. So I'm going to leave this, what you see on the screen there for a little while, so you know these are not my words. These are Brian DeHaaf's words. He asked a question to begin his article, saying, how do you contend with difficulties and sometimes existential questions in the most difficult times? That's freaky. A light just went off. That wasn't intended. And I don't know why it changed. It's Halloween. Why not? So he asked that question: how do you contend with difficult and sometimes existential questions in the most difficult times? His multiple responses are: document the known. Rather than getting lost in all the what ifs, I knew I needed to write down what we did know. I find that it is always helpful to write down my thoughts and then organize them. His next one, Brian's next one, is listen. I think we all know that one. We're not all good at that one. With something as global and dynamic as, let's say, the pandemic, it's critical to know what others are thinking and feeling. My experience is only mine. So I asked and I listened. Brian's next one is go ahead and make assumptions. He says there are plenty of cliche sayings about assumptions, but strategic thinking always requires you to make some assumptions. Some type of hypothesis about current and future events with actions to take. His next one is go boldly. Courage and humility from companies and leaders gives others confidence. As I told the team when I let them know my thoughts, there is still so much we don't know, and I can't claim to have all the answers. Instead, I shared exactly how I approached everything I described above. The next one is be transparent. He says that transparency is a core value for his company, AHA. The turbulence of what's happening only makes that transparency even more important. With news changing daily, with misinformation spreading, the team needed to know that our leadership team was working hard to make the best decisions for everyone involved. The next one, he said, is embrace being wrong. All we can do is put forth our best assessment and plan with the information we have at hand. In any type of disaster, the information comes fast and changes frequently. I admitted up front to the team that we all might look back and consider my evaluation and thoughts to be foolish. I hope that what we considered normal 30 days ago will return sooner than I think. He said, you might be wondering what decisions we made. I reinforced to the team at AHA was built to thrive in difficult times. Now, there's several other things he listed that are specific to his business, what he's been doing the past couple of years, and what his plans were for the future. And he says he ends his article with, no matter what tomorrow brings, strategy will never be optional. So that was Brian DeHaff, the founder of AHA. Those are his words. Now, back to what I have to share. Life is full of challenges. This is not something that anyone's going to argue with. This is a known thing. Life is full of challenges. Relatively speaking, though, especially once we've had the opportunity to look back at those challenges, most are pretty small. But there are some real doozies. When we find ourselves in an unusual or difficult situation, our initial reaction may be to panic. It may be to become defensive. Maybe we just shut down. Hopefully we hear that little voice inside of us telling us to remain calm. If it were only that easy. Because it's quite likely that our anxiety, our fear, or our panic drowns out that rational voice, and we're left feeling stressed, or even sometimes, in some situations, we're feeling lost or stressed, even in situations where we actually know what we're supposed to be doing. We know that others have faced similar things, and it seems like they handled it so well. So how did they do it? How do they keep their composure in the face of difficulty? How can we overcome our anxiety and fears so that we can better handle unusual situations? Of course, over time, we're able to adjust. But how can we better at dealing with the unusual from the start? Well, you probably already know the answer to this question, but there it is, preparation. By anticipating and preparing for potential difficulties, we're smart enough to think about what could happen. We're also smart enough to figure out how we might deal with it with a calm mind. We reduce the discomfort and become better at handling situations when we anticipate and prepare. The key, even without preparation, is to stay calm. That way your emotions don't take over and cloud your intelligence. Making important choices when you are too emotionally charged shows a lack of emotional control, at least in that moment. It should be received by our own mind as an eye-opener to the fact that we have some improving to do. Each situation is unique and requires a unique approach, but it must include empathy and the courage to face our fears and confront our challenges. But it's important to remember that you are not alone. With preparation and courage, you can overcome any obstacle. And you know this because you have faced thousands of challenges in your life and you're still going. By the way, if you get this, if this is making sense, do me a favor. Once again, hit yes. Click yes, or comment yes in the comments right now. Let me know that you're still here. Let me know that you know what I'm talking about. If this makes sense, click on yes. And do one more thing. Help me by clicking share. Get more people to watch the Portrait Prophet Show. Help me to do that. Click on the share button for me. Right now, I'm going to share with you 9 tips for dealing with unusual situations. The first one, that's interesting, because that's not the first one. Huh. I know what it is, so I'm going to change that slide real quick. There we go. The first one is minimize emotions. Minimize emotions. I know that when dealing with a difficult situation, minimizing emotions is hard. We're humans after all. We care. We are emotionally charged. The problem is that you experience more difficulties when you don't actively control your emotions. You not only cause self-harm, but you force your problems to those around you. Talk about selfish. Maybe not intentionally, but that is what's happening by your choice of not controlling your emotions. Now, you may feel, I don't have any control here. That's because you haven't prepared. You haven't planned for it. You know it's coming and you haven't prepared. That's all on you. This doesn't mean that you should bottle up your emotions. You still have them. I do too. But rather that you should be aware of how they may be affecting your ability to communicate effectively and think clearly. With a clear head and an open heart, you'll be better equipped to handle any unusual situation. When your emotions are high, it's not likely that we're thinking rationally. We often say things we don't mean. And sometimes those things have unintended consequences. We may say things that we are unlikely to follow through on. We want people to be able to trust our word. Remaining calm is beneficial to the situation, giving the opportunity to become more manageable so you can analyze what's happening and clearly decide what the best course of action should be. This will help you come to a resolution quicker and with less stress. In the end, keeping your emotions in check is beneficial to all involved. The second one is be clear about the situation. Now that you're in control of your irrational emotions, you've given yourself and those around you the potential to get clear on the situation. Otherwise, they're dealing with your unchecked emotions rather than the situation. So let's get focused on what the problem actually is. Number 3 is to define your goals. Every good result starts with a clear understanding of what you want to accomplish. Know what you want before you begin. Define your goal. And when there are others involved, make sure that everyone is on the same page. Without a clear goal in mind, you're going to get off track. Once you've got a goal in mind, start working towards it. End the conversation with clearly expressed action items. What are you and others agreeing to do? What are you committed to do? What potential obstacles are there that you may have to overcome? And whose responsibility is it to take care of those things that come up? Schedule a follow-up meeting to evaluate how you're doing, and then reassess what happens next. Number 4, be open-minded by seeking understanding and truth. Being open-minded does not mean you have to agree. It means that you have a strong enough mind where you can learn another point of view without feeling triggered by that point of view. Not all of us possess a strong enough mind for this. Not right now, but we can learn to. A weak mind will filter information based on the messenger rather than the message. Only a strong mind is willing to hear others out, especially if you strongly agree with that person. A weak mind or a weak position will stop information at all costs. But it is important to allow your mind opportunities to learn and to grow. You do not know everything, so stop blocking information. Approach the unusual situation inquisitively and genuinely try to understand. Only then will you be truly open-minded. I want you to reflect on your attitude towards the situation and the people involved. What are your preconceived thoughts? Doctors analyze a situation before making a diagnosis, right? Why aren't you? And don't judges hear both sides before rendering a verdict? Why are you blocking information? You'd make a horrible judge if you're not listening to both or multiple points of view. I think you should take this one step further. Don't just be open to hear a different point of view. Encourage it. Crave it. Otherwise, you're putting your blinders up. A healthy mind seeks understanding and greater truth in all situations, not just those that match their current view. A weak mind blocks information that's not already aligned with their preconceived ideas. Next, I want you to be fair and consistent. We know the golden rule. As children, we learn to treat others how we want to be treated. Hopefully you learned that. No doubt, we've strayed from this idea at times because, well, things can be difficult, especially when we're faced with difficult people or unusual situations. However, if we take a step back and examine our thoughts, emotions, and actions, we will often find that treating each person and each situation fairly and equally is the best course of action, now and in the future. Not only will this help build strong relationships, but it will also help to prevent misunderstandings and conflict. Furthermore, others will likely remember how you handled the situations in the past. So being consistent serves us and those around us in the long run. When in doubt, remembering this simple rule can help us make the best choices for ourselves and those around us. Now, this next one may be kind of odd, but it's awkward silence. It's awkward, meaning it's uncomfortable. But just because something's uncomfortable doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It could, but not necessarily. Awkward silence can be a good thing. It gives us a chance to think about what the other person has said. It's easy to gloss over someone's words without really hearing them. A pause in the conversation gives us a chance to process what was said and allow it to sink in. Additionally, awkward silence can have a calming effect. We don't always get the opportunity to just sit down and be with another person. Maybe we should view awkward silence not as something to be avoided, but as an opportunity for connection and for understanding. By the way, if any of this is resonating with you, if it's helping you, I want you to comment yes or comment it's helping. I hear you. Thank you. Whatever it is that you feel is appropriate. Tell me in the comments that this is helping, that you understand, or just a simple yes in the comments. Let me know you're here. Let me know you're watching. All right, next one. I want you to develop strong relationships despite conflict. Number 7. Obviously, conflict is a natural part of interaction between clients, coworkers, family members, friends. Although it's impossible to avoid conflict altogether, effectively managing conflict helps to reduce its negative impact. Some of the most effective strategies to reduce conflict include honest listening, purposeful communication, empathy, and of course, an open mind. Choosing to understand others' perspectives and communicating calmly and openly gives potential to resolve conflict in a way that is satisfactory to all involved. Learning how to effectively cope with conflict helps to make relationships stronger and more resilient. Now, what about when you come across that mean or rude person? At least it seems that way to you. All right, let's talk about how to disarm someone who's being mean or rude. You've come across people who try to use underhanded tactics to get what they want. That may be how you view it. To them, it just may be their norm. For some, it is their normal reaction. They don't see it as rude because it's their norm. Whether it's stonewalling, which is causing the progression to stop or slow, sarcasm, deflecting responsibility, changing the subject, comparison to something that is totally unrelated, maybe adding in another subject, or some other unhelpful tactic. These ploys are frustrating and they are difficult to deal with. You may disarm them simply by calling out their behavior. For example, you could say something like, "It sounds like you're starting to misdirect the conversation with sarcasm. Let's agree to do things that lead to an outcome that's satisfactory to all concerned." Now, that's not going to work all the time. You have to have a pretty emotionally intelligent person for that to work. Naming the tactic will often, though, take the wind out of their sails. It also shows that you're not afraid to stand up for yourself and that you're committed to finding resolution. As soon as you said something to disarm them, you do need to get right back to the conversation. Because if you allow yourself to get caught up in an argument, you're headed in a direction that is not going to help you to get to resolution. So stay calm. Keep the lines of communication open. Do not close them. And always focus your attention on the positive result that you want. If you're not focused on the positive result you want, you are part of the problem. I'm not saying that you're the only part of the problem, but you are adding to it. Now, number 9 of 9. Last one. Every interaction that has the potential to damage or strengthen a relationship. Every interaction has the potential to damage or strengthen a relationship. A person with high emotional intelligence is mindful of this and works to enhance trust and preserve the relationship despite the conflict. They understand that an open-minded conversation can fix the situation. Preservation of relationships causes a strong foundation of trust and healthy community. But understand that if one is committed to growing and improving at this moment, and the other is not at this moment, that other person poisons the potential for a positive result. A person with low emotional intelligence may not realize that they are the cause of the problem. Or, if they do, they just feel justified to cause continued problems. This can cause the problem, this is the cause of the problem, but it is easy for the person with higher emotional intelligence to be negatively influenced and have an exaggerated emotional response because they are trying hard to make things work. They're trying so hard to make things work that they become frustrated. When in this position, you must not slip and give in to your emotions. You know this. You've experienced this. I've experienced this too. In all situations, you must remain calm. Otherwise, your mind becomes clouded. In other words, your intelligence is not showing through. If you're allowing your emotions to win, you and everyone around you loses. We have to keep calm. That is the only way our mind will be able to handle these unusual situations. Now, I mentioned earlier in this presentation that if I had some extra time, that I was going to share a story or two that is more along the Halloweenish version of unusual experiences or unusual situations. And so now that I've shared everything I wanted to share about this subject, I'm going to share with you some of these unusual situations. Let's see. A bridal portrait. So I was photographing this beautiful brunette at this beautiful location, and everything was going great. Everything was perfect throughout the entire session. In fact, everything was great, period. But there was something unusual when I was culling through the images after the session back at my computer. Just one of the images had something that wasn't there, at least not to my eyes. Imagine, I want you to picture in your mind a gold glass Christmas ornament, but just the roundness of it, not the top, not the connection, not the hook, not the Christmas tree, just that round glass globe. Because one of those was next to her, probably about, 6-8 inches away from her face. It was totally see-through. I could see through this gold, whatever it was, that was just right next to her. And I was tempted to pull it out, but I mentioned it to her. And she said, "That's my grandmother." I don't know what it was or what it wasn't, but it was absolutely there in my photograph. No denying that. All right. Here's another one. You guys have probably been to the Menger Hotel if you live in San Antonio. And I know not everybody watching lives in San Antonio, but I am based in San Antonio, so therefore that's probably where the majority of you are from. The Menger Hotel is right next door to the Alamo. It's been there for a very long time. In fact, if you've studied U.S. history and you've heard of Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders, he got those in the bar at the Menger Hotel. And there are a lot of stories, ghost stories, of multiple things that have happened at that hotel. And I'm intrigued by that stuff. I don't seek it, but it's interesting. And I was photographing a bride at the Menger Hotel. In this particular image, scenario, she was down in the lobby where we're up in the that's 3-tiered balcony, and she's down at the bottom of it where there's this beautiful mosaic, tiny tiles. It must have taken forever to put this thing together. But she's standing on top of that, and I'm up on the 3rd floor. looking down on her, about to photograph her. And I'm kind of at the corner of this open area. And I feel, and you guys know when someone's walking past you. You feel it. I feel someone walking past, and so I look, and there's a maid just walking by. She's got some towels rolled up. She's holding them in her hands, and she's just walking from behind me to the side, walking past me. And so I look over, and I see her, and then I look back down at the bride, and for whatever reason, I do a double take, and I look back over at the maid, who's no longer there. So I thought, well, she looked like she was heading to one of those two doors. I mean, because they're the closest ones. And at that point, there were only two doors that she could have gone to that were in her path. And so I thought, I guess as she increased her pace, maybe she could have made it to a door, but there's no way she could have gotten in and that door closed behind her. Not in that short a period of time. All right. So I look behind me, to the side and behind me, and there's a staircase. She could have turned around and walked over towards the staircase, but it was an up staircase. There's no way she could have gotten any higher than I would be able to see in that shorter period of time. I'd be surprised if she could even get to the staircase, but even if she did, she couldn't get up far enough where I wouldn't be able to see her. And so I looked back totally behind me down a hallway. Well, it was a long hallway with no one in it. What do you guys think I saw? I'm going to look at some of the comments. You've experienced that too? Oh, cool. That's pretty wild. Hey, Jero, glad you're here. Yep, maid who roams the halls. I guess. I don't know. I have been in. I was photographing Hotel Faust in New Braunfels, and I didn't see anything or feel anything. I might have felt something, but I didn't see anything unusual. I was there. The owner wanted me to photograph it, so this was years ago when I used to do it. Whatever. Someone says, "Can you photograph my house? Can you photograph the hotel? Can you photograph my kid playing soccer?" Whatever it was, I didn't say yes to everything, but I said yes to a lot when I first started. And one of those things was that hotel. It was fun to photograph, and we were there all day, so we actually stayed overnight there, Robin and I, and it was everything was old, everything was fun. I thought it was fun, but there were some things that did feel, I don't know. It just felt something. I don't know that I could describe it. I didn't see anything. There was nothing to report, but it was a fun place to go, and I definitely would recommend it. I'm looking at the comments. Okay. Yeah. So have you guys experienced some Halloweenish unusual situations? And if so, share. Sandy, okay. Dave, a similar situation in a hotel in Athens, Georgia. Okay. Very cool. Nice. All right. So, and if you guys weren't here at the beginning, I'll share the story that I shared right at the beginning. So I was photographing a wedding at the Black Swan Inn years ago, and one of my flashes went through 8 sets of batteries that evening. It usually doesn't even go through 1 in an evening. Maybe it goes to the second, but it's never been through 8 ever before or since. Something was draining the power out of those batteries. Don't know what that could have been, but it was an unusual situation. Hey, Ruben, glad you're here. All right, so I'm going to bring Amanda on, and I want to hear her thoughts on unusual situations. Hey, Amanda,
Hey, Tim.
how are you doing?
I'm doing well, just listening to all your spooky stories. Thankfully, I never had any unusual spooky stories of my own. I don't know if I could handle it.
That's funny. Um, I, I'm sure there has been some other ones that I've seen, but that's all the ones that I can think of right now. There's been many times where I felt something that was off in an environment. There's feelings that I have felt in environment. I have felt a lonely feeling, an extreme lonely feeling, multiple times. When my brother and I were exploring parts of Central California, we were at Mono Lake, and there's something extreme about that area. I got the most lonely, uh, something, I don't know, bad. I don't know if it's hard. The feeling is though it's pretty overwhelming. It's not enough where I can't move around and can't think. I can't create beautiful photographs. It's not that, but it
That's your
is.
fight or flight response kicking in, I think. It's saying run.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime I feel that, I'm out. I don't even entertain the feeling. I like, no, there are bad, creepy things out there, and I don't need to be anywhere near them at all. Although one
That's
time
fair.
I went on a shoot, it was a
Yeah.
video production of a haunted inn with a friend of mine and his crew. He let me kind of just tag along because it was so bizarre, and he's like, "Oh yeah, just come along, watch it. We'll be there all night." And yeah, that was pretty creepy for sure. But I think the creepier thing was the psychic that went along with us. She had some pretty
Oh,
creepy things to say, and I didn't get it, but it was still very very bizarre. They brought all the little trinkets and gadgets too, so oh, it's like the odometer or whatever is going all the way to the right. That means there's a presence here. I was like, oh, okay, got you. I learned a lot.
do you ever watch those ghost shows on TV?
I think I watched them when I was younger. As I got
Yeah.
older, I don't like to
You
play
don't like
with
how it makes you feel?
fate. Yeah, tempt fate or whatever you call it. Because Ray will ask me sometimes, he's like, "Do you believe in ghosts?" And I'm like, I don't want to not believe in ghosts because I feel like if I say that I don't, that I'm gonna see one or something's gonna come to me, and I don't. Again, not
You're
playing with that.
inviting
I'm
it.
not. I'm not inviting any of that. That's okay.
Well, I'll share one more with you, and uh, it may or may not be anything, just like the other stories that I've shared. But you know how your mind, just goes off in certain thoughts, and you're kind of lost in thought for just a little while. And for a moment, I was, uh, and this was within the last 10 years, after my grandfather passed away, a number of years after he passed away. But just a daydream, and my mind went to a point in time where I was a kid. Uh, being he owned a construction business in the Dallas Fort Worth area, the base stuff, the earth moving equipment, the bulldozers and the scrapers, that kind of thing. And he would go out to the different job sites in his red truck, and I all of a sudden was in his red truck, looking. We were driving on some dirt road, looking into into wherever it was we were going, and I could smell his pipe. He smoked a pipe, and it smelled really good, and so I could smell that, and that was it ended there. It was just a brief moment. It probably lasted 3 seconds,
Wow.
but the smell was. I mean, it wasn't just a feeling of being. I was sitting. I was looking out his window. I could tell it was his red truck. 'Cause you can see the hood. I didn't look over and see him. It was too short a period of time, but I could smell that pipe. And my grandmother was alive then, but I told her about it, and it didn't shock her or surprise her. She's like, "Yeah, yeah, I'm glad he visited you."
Wow. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, thank you. I don't love my family. I don't need them visit me. They're okay. I know they're watching over.
Yep. I mean, all that could be just in a person's head. You have the ability to. I mean, every once in a while, I smelled. I played football in high school. Every once in a while, I smell the gym,
Huh.
and it's not a good smell. I mean, that's where everybody is sweating.
Yeah.
So it's the locker room, not the gym. The football locker room where we hung our stuff. Uh, it's a very distinct smell. And every once in a while, I smell it, and I don't know. I don't know how to explain that. It brings me back. I
Well,
mean, it's just all of a sudden pulled me back in time just for a moment.
it's amazing how smells can do that.
Hmm.
It's amazing.
It is. Well, Amanda, did you have anything you wanted to share with us today
Yes.
from
So
Digital
happy
Pro Lab?
Halloween, everybody. We're having a blast over here. If you want to stop by the lab, you'll see Isla dressed as a little glow in the dark skeleton. She's super
Ah, I love it.
yes. And then I know through today, the last promo code, which you'll have to go see the last episode if you missed it. So, just take a look at the last episode that we posted for that one. That one's good through today as well. But the one for today is mug 40. So we've got 40% off 15-ounce white mugs.
Cool.
I know we've done this one in the past, but right now is the perfect time to, get those for yourself. Go ahead and get them as gifts. If you want to get them for your clients, they're very sweet gifts. Or if you want to offer them to your clients, this would be a good opportunity for you to get your samples at a deeply discounted rate, those 15-ounce mugs. And I've got a couple of them right here. So one, it's getting cooler outside. So mugs are, especially people that are drinking coffee or hot chocolate. Those are actually really nice. Even if you wanted to gift them, you could put one of those nice little bags of hot chocolate in there with maybe a recipe, and then you can give that as a gift. Those are really sweet, good stocking stuffers that you could do. And then this one right here, it's white. And then we also have the ones that are colored mugs. So it actually has a color on the outside and then the interior. But the white ones are the ones that are most popular. So I would encourage you to take advantage of those. So just plug in mug 40 for 40% off that 15-ounce mug in our software at digitalprolab.com. And if you have any questions, just let me know because we can help you place the order. So sometimes people like to actually do one full image, or you want to do multiple collaged images. You can set that up in Photoshop. Just set it up as a 4-inch by 8-inch, and that way it's easy for you to drag and drop it in. Or we can show you how to use the tools in the software, or if you already know how to use them, go ahead and use that as well. All right.
Tony, you are funny. Did you see his comment?
Nice mug shot. I like it.
I think Ruben got a kick out of that too. I love it.
I was
All
just
right.
talking to his friend, Tony, one of Tony's friends. He sent somebody into the lab, and I was like, "Ah, that guy's a hoot." Sure enough, doesn't disappoint.
That's funny. So, do you like the Halloween edition background?
I do. I was just like, I was noticing it in spurts. I was noticing you have like the little pop up bubbles and stuff in orange, and I was noticing your graphics because I can see his graphics right at the bottom. And then you put me in there, and I'm like, wait a minute, the Portrait Profits logo has a pumpkin behind it, and look at all this like spooky stuff happening here at the bottom. And look, literally, it says, I'm like, okay, a Halloween edition. That's really cute. That's fun.
That was fun putting that together.
That is fun. Are you doing all your own graphics?
Yeah.
Your other graphics?
Well, I have templates that help me. So it's taken me a lot less time than it would if I was creating them originally. So they're all templates. Of course, I tweak everything. I can't stand using a template as is.
Yeah.
I don't know
You
why
could add
I'm
your
that
own
way.
text to it.
Yeah.
Are you using a program like Canva or are you doing it in Photoshop?
Yeah, Canva is now I do use some other ones too, and I definitely use Photoshop as well. But Canva is a starting point for many of the graphics that I make. In fact, everyone in the past year of the graphics for our titles. So let me bring one up as an example, if I have one. Yeah, so this one, the dealing with unusual situations, that's made in Canva, and the one we did last week on the photographer competitor analysis, that was done in Canva as well. So definitely a good program, and I do recommend it. They have a free version and a paid one, and the paid one is so inexpensive. It's just worth it. Do you use these template tools?
I don't use Canva, but I don't design as much as I used to. My team uses Canva quite a bit, and they're of course manipulating further in Photoshop and all that good stuff.
Yeah,
I'm more on the Lightroom side,
yeah.
which make sure everybody, if you're using Lightroom, to push through that update. They just did an update about probably just under 2 weeks ago, and it pushed out some new tools from Photoshop that now are available in Lightroom, like content aware. So that's it's a pretty big update. So update.
That's
Update
right.
the system.
Don't ignore your updates,
Hmm.
including with your browser. I came across someone whose Chrome browser, had. I don't know if you guys use Chrome, but it starts off if there's an update in green, it just says update, and then it goes to yellow, and then if you've really pushed it past the point where you're supposed to, it goes red. And so every once in a while, I see someone with red. It's like, don't you update your browser when it says update? You need to do that. It could cause you some problems.
Yeah, I don't think I update my browser. I think I have to something has to break and I remember that, oh,
No,
okay, there's something's not working and I'm like, yeah, I probably need to update something. Same thing with my computer. I always disable all the updates sometimes because different softwares interact differently with updates.
that's funny. That's funny. All right. Well, let's talk about what's coming up. Unless you had something else you want to share, I want to talk about the upcoming shows. All right. So, as you guys know, every single Monday we have this show that we share with you about the business side of photography, and we have. I'm going to tell you the ones that are coming up in November. So the first one is the top 10 questions that photographers are asking me. And obviously, I'm getting a lot of questions because, well, this is what I do. So, of course, people are asking me questions. But if you guys wanted to get a question answered or suggested as one of the things I bring up, I haven't finalized the top 10 yet. So you're welcome to send me a question, and maybe I'll consider that as one of the top 10. And, of course, I'm going to answer those from this one guy's point of view, just so you can see a different point of view. Not because I'm trying to tell you that I'm right and you're wrong. It has nothing to do with it. It's just one more person's point of view. So the top 10 questions that photographers around San Antonio, around Texas, around the nation are asking me. That's on November 7th, and that's at noon. And on the second Monday of every single month, we do something different. We have a panel discussion, and we move the time to 6:30 in the evening. So make sure you add that to your calendar. This one is called the top frequently asked questions from prospects.
That's a good one.
So very similar to the one on the 7th, but quite different because now you're going to hear what these three photographers are hearing from their prospects and how they're responding to those questions. So I'm going to get those questions from them, get them to tell me what their frequently asked questions are, and then I'm going to present those as questions to them so that they can have an opportunity to respond. So you can see how they're responding to what clients are asking right now. November 14th. And November 21st, that's the week of Thanksgiving, I believe. How a busy person makes $10,000 a month in portrait photography. Photographers do. I know you know, but photographers can do really well as long as they aren't in that what people call race to the bottom with ridiculously low prices. I know how you guys feel if you're one of those. I understand because I've been there. At some point, you'll evolve past it. Why not now? So let's listen to how someone who's busy doing other things still is able to bring in 10,000 a month. And I bet you put yourself in that busy category. So this is you. And on November 28th, to round out the month of November, going from dream to full time in just 6 months. What do you have to do? What are the steps? You can do this. You guys, if you've been here for a while, you've probably heard this story before. And this, I wish I could claim this as one of my students. She's not. But she has a business that she can only work on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's it. She can only work Tuesdays and Thursdays. And by the end of her first full year, she grossed $300,000. So if she can do it with only 2 days to dedicate to it, you can do it too. All right, so that's what's coming up in November. Do those sound good?
Those are great.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to share, Amanda?
Well, we've completely converted our retail space again back to a retail space. And we had it as a gallery if any of y'all were able to come and see it. I know you did, Jim.
Yes.
But yeah, we've got it all back to retail, which means we've got all of our gifts and greeting cards and everything is out right now. So if you want to come, see something, touch it, talk about pricing, figure out how to order it, now's the time to come because y'all are getting those gifting products ready for your customers. It's a big time of year right now. This is our fourth quarter, and we do a lot of business in this quarter, which tells me that y'all are doing a lot of business in this quarter too. So make sure you're ready for it if you haven't already prepped.
Cool. You guys, if you haven't been to Digital Pro Lab, you need to go to Digital Pro Lab. I bet each one of you knows a lot about it, but in San Antonio, and everybody knows about Digital Pro Lab, and across the state and across the nation, I hope everybody knows about it, because first, it's headed up by a fantastic person, a fantastic couple who work hard and love. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not just saying this. Actually, love this stuff. They get up in the morning excited to do this, not drudgery. They're not saying, "Oh, gotta go to office again, gotta go to work." No, they wake up excited about this stuff, and you want vendors in your corner who are the type of people that you find at Digital Pro Lab. So you guys want to surround yourself by good people. You'll find that at Digital Pro Lab.
Yeah, we've got a great team. They're all having a blast out there right now.
Love it. All right. Well, I think I'm going to close out this show. Thank you, Amanda, for all that you do. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your thoughts and suggestions, and thank you for the discount. What one more time is the promo code?
It's MUG40, so MUG 40, and that'll get you 40% off of our 15-ounce white mug.
Mug 40, 15% off.
40%
40% off.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Mug 40, 40% off. Thanks, Amanda.
Bye, Jim. Oh, I'm back.
Whoops. So, hey, it's Halloween. We deal with unusual situations on Halloween and every day of the year. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you for your open-mindedness. Thank you for wanting to learn and to grow, to become a better person today than you were yesterday. Thank you for sharing this program with others so they can become better than they were yesterday as well, uplifting the entire photography community. I hope you have some fun plans for today, for Halloween. I hope you have all the candy that you need for the trick-or-treaters this evening. And I look forward to seeing you soon. For Landers Photography School and Digital Pro Lab, this is Jim Landers bringing you the weekly Portrait Profit Show, giving you evolving content, awareness, and even fun to the business side of photography through helpful information, step-by-step processes, and action steps that will guide you through the struggles that you deal with now so that you're constantly realigned to the path that leads to the success you deserve. Be here every Monday to hear a different view on the business side of photography. Thank you for investing your time here at the Portrait Profits Show. Happy Halloween, you guys. Bye for now.